with its distinctive design and its great war history in World War II and even into the jet era of the Korean War. First about Dave Bolt. He received his private pilot certificate back in 1977 at Western Michigan University in their flying club. Throughout the course of the years, he added all of the professional ratings. He flies the T-28, the T-33 jet, the P-51 Mustang, and this airplane, the Corsair. He's got a low level aerobatic rating in the Corsair and the Mustang. Dave was invited to join the demo team in 2010 and fly the Corsairs in the famed tailhook legacy flight formation. Only a handful of qualified pilots got the ability to fly with Top Gun jets owned by Navy pilots side by side. Dave's history back in 1987, 88, 89. He served as president of one of the most successful air shows ever. Kalamazoo, Michigan was the place. It's called High on Kalamazoo. And he started to work at the Kalamazoo Aviation History Museum. He was asked to fly some of the museum aircraft on weekends and give all rides. He did with their Ford tri-motor, accumulating 400 hours. In '92, he purchased an advanced World War II trainer, the SNJ, and then in 2003, he became qualified in air shows in this airplane, the F4U Corsair, as well as the P-51. Now, the airplane had a nickname in World War II given to it by the enemy. They called it Whistling Death because in a high-speed dive, wind going through the oil coolers at the leading edge of the wing actually set up a whistle. So look low to your left. Let's keep all the music and noise down and see if Dave gets enough speed for us to pick up this whistle. It's a little bit of a challenge because the wind is taking the noise away from us to the ground. Watch. Listen. Yes, I did hear it. They also call that airplane, as you look at it now, the bent wing bird. Right at the bend of the wings is where it could fold if it was an airplane aboard the deck of an aircraft carrier. It's another reason for that particular design as well. Now, as Dave comes in from your right, he's going to slow it down this time and set up for the photo pass, deliberately slow so you can pick it up in your camera and your eyes. As Rob Ryder tells you a little bit about that unique design. The pilot, Dave Bolt. The airplane, the Chance Vaught Corsair. It was initially designed to be a carrier-based aircraft. That bent wing, very important, because they lowered the landing gear from below and caught the big 13.5-foot propeller connecting the carrier. However, there were some problems landing in this aircraft on the deck of a carrier because the pilot couldn't see over the nose. So the British, who led the world into carrier aviation design, took some Corsairs, made some changes. They raised the pilot's seat, changed the shape of the canopy called a Malcolm hood, and then used that downward crook in the wing to fly an oval approach to final on the carrier deck so the pilot had eyes on the landing signal officer, paddles until just before touchdown. But in the meantime, the F4U Corsair became a very capable land-based fighter. It did as well. As Dave's racing around from your left, this time he's going to do a maneuver taught to prospective World War II combat pilots as a method of coordinating all of the controls in the aircraft. It's called the barrel roll, and unlike a normal roll, there is an actual change of altitude. Well, Dave's going to change that one around to the aileron roll, or the victory roll. As he has been given a little bit more time, he'll probably do the barrel more into the wind. That's what I should have picked up. Now, in the ingenious design, there were 3 different companies that built this airplane, and it does have an Ohio history because the Chance Vaught Company built it and designed it, as did Goodyear up in Akron, Ohio. They were known as the G models. That was the name of the contractor, and the Brewster Company, who had the designation A. All right, thank you, sir. Barrel roll on this one, Dave. Radio's down and says, tell that dummy daddy, this is the barrel roll, of course, because it's into the wind. I should have known that. All right, up goes the nose, the change of altitude. See, there's a heading change as well. All the while, you are using every control in the aircraft, getting in the dogfight arena. It is a very coordinated maneuver, and it got pilots ready for that dangerous environment. Sure looked easy, but it was hard to fly it. All right, now Dave's going to configure the aircraft as it would be ready to land aboard an aircraft carrier or land base. Now, there was a TV series back in the 70s with two different names. It was about Greg Pappy Boynton, a Marine Corps ace, flying the Corsair in his gang of misfits in his squadron, and the theme music went something like this. Their way they did. Pappy Boynton was a colorful character. He solved his differences with young and old alike in the military in the ring with the gloves on. If they didn't get along, he said, let's put the gloves on and go sort this out in the ring. Sportsmanlike. And his group of misfits were put together to say that they have a record. He was able to keep them in line, and he was, well, Pappy was a handful, let's put it that way. Why did they call him Pappy? Because as a squadron leader, he was all of 28 years of age, considered to be an old man. Here down, flat stop stable, mastering the Chance Bosch Corsair. Big four-bladed prop in 1940, and level 42 became the fastest airplane in the world, 405 miles an hour. It was an engine with an aircraft built around it. They had a long production run for a piston-powered aircraft in World War II from 1940 up into the early 1950s. And why? Because they were going to be used by the Navy and Marine Corps in the Korean War as a ground attack aircraft. Now, even though that was the case, as Dave gets ready to come back in and demonstrate another victory roll for us, they loaded them up in the Korean War with bombs and rockets and went to an extraordinarily high gross weight of just under 19,000 pounds of weight, with bombs, rockets, napalms, whatever they could use to devastate the enemy. And even though Korea in the dogfight arena was a jet environment, it was generally the F-86, like the one we saw Paul Wood fly earlier, that Rob told you about, against the MiG-15, both swept-wing aircraft, both designed by captured German aeronautical data. There were 40 aces. Made ace qualification in the Korean War. 39 flew the F-86, and one, a Navy pilot, the only Navy pilot to become an ace, flew an airplane like this, the N model, like this one, a night fighter. He got his 5 kills. His name was Lieutenant Guy Orloff. Flying the Corsair, flying the one name, and experienced again. And again, in the jet war, that was quite an accomplishment. It was still a devastating ground attack aircraft by the Marines, and in order to carry all that weight, to pump the horsepower up to the highest they ever had, they matched the number of cubic inches in the engine. It's a 2,800 cubic inch engine and 2,800 horsepower. And that's saying a bunch of power and a bunch of engineering to make that happen. You know, they were built over 12,000 during and before. How many exact? All of them. Shut up. But, ladies and gentlemen, they are scarce. There are only 28 left, and not all of them are flying. Give Dave Volk a big wave as he passes in front of you. This is sheer beauty. They were manufactured, among other places, in the great state of Ohio. And after the war, they became unlimited racing with the big engines that the Goodyear Company of Akron, Ohio put in them. And at the last couple of years of racing in Cleveland before we moved to Reno, Nevada, they brought home the gold with great pilots like Dick Becker and Cook Cleveland, legends, along with some others who flew those great aircraft. When Dave Volk gets in the cockpit of the Chance Bosch Corsair. By the way, Chance Bosch, an unusual name, Rob.
Yes,
it was the name of the guy who owned the company. Would you rather be called Chauncey Bosch or Chance Bosch?
I think Chance sounds a little better.
So did he. That was his nickname, pretty much. And if the letter has a U in it, F4U, or F4 Corsair, whatever it may be, F2, the letter designation will tell you where it was built. Of course, Chance Vaughn built most of them down in the state of Texas. Okay, Sean Tucker taking off. He's going to climb for altitude. Dave Folk putting the landing gear down. Now, Dave's job is not done. Keep your eye on the Corsair. You know, in these tailwheel aircraft of World War II and beyond, when you are landing, that big cowling rises up in front of you because it's a tailwheel airplane. I have to tell you this, all forward visibility over the top of that cowling is lost. When you land, you've got to look out the left and right side of the canopy and line up the ship or the runway with equal distance of concrete on one side that you have on the other. That's how you know you're in the center line. You can wheel land the airplane and keep the tail wheel up for a while in the event of a crosswind landing, but eventually that tail's not going to fly, it's going to come back down. And that's when things get interesting with your spacing. Your eyes are darting left, right, and maintaining equal amount of concrete on either side. So this is not the easiest part of the landing. What is a wheel landing? Well, it's when you land on the main gear first and avoid a three-point landing. That's a wheel landing. It's good for crosswinds, and we do have the planes crossing the runway at this time. But down comes the tail, and here comes the skill with the brakes and the rudder and your sight picture.